Oh, hi guys. Yeah, Tony's prompted me into showing you how I set my worm rigs up. Um, Now, to me, this is quite critical in that it's one of the biggest reasons why people get misruns. It's all down to hook size, bait size again. And it's just, I wanted to really show this on the talk, but I just completely ran out of time. So I'll go through this quite quickly and hope that you get the gist of where I'm coming from. Now, basically, this is how I see most people fishing their worms, and fished on the bottom. As you can see, these are just, I dug these worms out of the garden. It's not the best example, but I've run out of lobworms. And that's the sort of size we're talking. Now, when that's hanging in the water on a Dyson or on the bottom, in a very short space of time, you get this octopus effect, as you can see quite clearly. It's a massive area for an eel to try and take that bait and hook the fish. So 98% of people would fish that on a running rig, off bottom rig, and be surprised when they get misrun after misrun. There's this thing that the eels will just suck that whole lot in, which is absolute nonsense. In most situations, the eel will come along, grab an area of that bait and run with it. So you get the classic rollover, whatever, monkey climber will go up and the eel will run with that. It's not swallowed it, it's ran with it. So you get the classic run, you get the absolute classic rollover, and then you all get surprised why you get drop runs. It's given the eel far too much time to detect there's something not right, and usually being a change of resistance in that rig. So that is totally ineffective. This is only my opinion, and I understand if people disagree, but I haven't fished that standard way for 30 years. I couldn't bring myself to do it. It's so inefficient. Now, that's on quite a large hook, but I'll come to that in a minute. This is these are Dendra Beanies, and this is how I see most people fish their Dendra Beanies. Slightly better, but still ineffective in my opinion. There's an awful large area there where the eel can grab hold of without coming into contact with that hook. This is on a slightly smaller hook. Now, this is just to show you, this is a long shank hook. I had a lot of success on these long shank hooks quite a few years ago with nailing my eels off bottom, and it still works, but I prefer to use the shrink tubing now. And that just, on my Dyson, that would hang like that. But the reason I'm just showing you this is these are very soft pieces of rubber. And I actually soak these in flavors, but it's not essential. So basically, this is just to explain to you how I load my hook up. So you imagine that on the bottom, again, huge area for the fish to mess about with that without actually coming in contact with that hook. Hook size, bait size, keep going on about this, it's so important. Now, one of my favourite and most successful lip hooking rigs out there, bar from using the feeder bolt rig that everybody's got excited about, is the Dyson rig. Fished with the bobbins. Critical that I don't fish it on an open spool like most people, as it becomes what's a super rig into a very inefficient rig. This is only my opinion. Now, this is almost the end product of how I fish my worms. Now, this is, I think this is a size 4 hook, so it's quite a large hook, but it's very difficult when that's hanging off bottom not to get nailed. Now, I haven't finished this rig off. I wanted to show you, I don't know if you can see that, but the head of the worms, you can see that, I don't know if you can see that moving, but the head of the worms, whether it be Dendra Beanies or lobworms, is moving all the time, and that could very easily mask that hook. So what I do is I get my scissors and I just nip those off. So I nip all the heads of the worms off. So you can see the amount of the scent that's coming out there straight away. So that's just one ball of worm, and that's all tightened up by using very soft silicone rubber. You can use these little soft rubber maggots. They're ideal, really. They're ever so soft. I have no problems with using those. They do take in flavours if you feel it's necessary. To be honest, I'm not sure it is. So I've got my little liner on there, so it just puts a bit of a curve when that's hanging. Now, when that's hanging off bottom on a Dyson rig, I've found that to be mega successful. Using my bobbins, bait, use and fishing off the bait runners, but 9 times out of 10, I don't even get to the bait runner because my bobbin's doing the work for me. So I hope that kind of explains to you. I mean, I haven't trimmed these worms up. Already you can see there's bits there that need trimming off. So the tighter the ball. And one other little thing I will say, in the summer when the water temperatures are high, I'll recast these out every 2 hours throughout the night. A, it keeps me active, and B, it just re-tops up that scent. Still see people fishing with like this off bottom, on bottom, and it's so inefficient. And what people tend to do is they'll get misrun after misrun. Then the temptation is to leave it longer, and we end up with a very deep hooked eel or reject runs. In my experience, when I fished in the standard way like that, I'd get 10 runs and maybe get 4 eels if I was lucky. When I fish like this off bottom or on the bottom, but I'm expecting 98% lip hooked eels, and that's what I've been experiencing for years. So yeah, I hope I haven't rabbited on too much. I hope it explains it. So basically, tight ball of worms, trim them up, make sure you cut those heads off so that they don't mask the hooks. You've got a massive amount of scent there, and as I say, in the summer change them every 2 hours. In the winter, I'm quite happy to leave that out in cold conditions all night, no problem. Hope that helps, and I'd be interested in any feedback, even if you disagree with me. But this has been, as I kept saying in that talk, those 1%ers are massive. This is a 10%er, lads. If you're on a water, low density eels, and you're not getting pestered with silverfish, this is definitely the way forward. Obviously, if you're on a water where that's a problem, we're talking bags. But I know Tony's been showing a particular interest on how I hook my worms up, so I hope that helps. Okay, I'm going to get back into the garden now. Bye.